I welcome audience back to our Still Waters Run Deep program, and I'm happy to have another conversation with Peter. When we talk about the COVID-19 impact, the U.S. and the China trade war heated by the recent the ban on the WeChat and the TikTok social media app. So my question is, will a Canadian government, federal government, follow the U.S. government to ban these two mentioned social media, quite popular media, WeChat and TikTok?
Well, I think Canada is part of various intelligence organizations. We have an obligation to back up and have all our ducks in a row when dealing with our strategic intelligence allies. And as you know, and maybe our viewers don't know, but Canada is part of the Five Eyes, which is an intelligence organization of 5 democracies: the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. And they trade and comment on and share various intelligence information. So Canada will be wise to be very careful with social media coming from the PRC, because any social media from the PRC is propaganda. It's a soft arm of the whole CCP apparatus. So Canada will have to toe the line and be a participant all in the Five Eyes, and will have to negate and take into conscious advisement any declarations from the United States of America, because we need to continue to share intelligence, and we need to find a way to tone down the misinformation and the propaganda that comes from WeChat and TikTok, and make sure that there is transparency and a governance model that is complementary to the rules and regulations that we have here, in not only in this country but in the rest of the democracies of the Five Eyes. And this is we've talked previously, you and I, about Chinese soft power, which has been enabled not only by the Western democracies, but also by the fact that China is very wise in the way it uses social media and virtual technology to its advantage. They have been able to mitigate soft power not only here, but in countries like Australia and New Zealand, where now Australia has been basically put in a position where it has to now legislate foreign interference laws.
So when you reckon the Canadian government will impose such restriction on the use of Chinese?
Well, we're waiting. Yeah, that's a good question. I think we're waiting now. François Philippe Champagne, who's the Canadian Minister of Foreign Affairs, is now putting together a white paper on a recalibrated and refocused Canadian foreign policy in dealing with the PRC, and he has promised to bring this to Cabinet and to the Commons before the end of the year. So hopefully within that document will be a revised Canadian foreign policy when dealing with the PRC, and this will be feedback that he's getting from Ambassador Barrett, I believe his name is, who's the new, well, he's been in now for almost a year, the new Canadian ambassador to Beijing. all the feedback they're getting from Australia in the foreign interference law that Australia is passing, I believe, passing into law now. So this will be a realistic, a complete do-over.
What you're saying is, if Canadian want to adopt the restriction on the Chinese WeChat or the TikTok, Canada needs to pass a new law, kind of stuff. Unlike U.S., the U.S. Federal government, the Department of Justice, they imposed on the ban on the TikTok and WeChat.
Well, I think what happens is that any change in foreign policy brings in other partners like public security. Just to sum up then, when you're doing a foreign policy review, that brings in all the rest of the actors, like I mentioned, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. You bring in public security. You're doing a complete makeover, right? That makeover will, in essence, lead to specific actions by the other ministries that will be involved in this new foreign policy rethink. You can't turn this on a dime, right? You need to put together a complete new policy on Canada's foreign relations with the PRC. And you need to make sure that all the entities involved in this form a common front as to a more realistic approach to the PRC, and everything else will fall into place. So I'm hoping that the last couple of months has given Canada a much more realistic approach to the PRC.
I wish the process is getting sooner better than later.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, governments governments function in a different time warp than the rest of us do. It's a big bureaucracy, but this new foreign policy will be the paper that will hopefully lead us in a relationship that's much more reciprocal and hopefully much more equal. But the proof will be in the pudding, as they say, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
And thank you from beautiful Steveston.